Please subscribe and you can download this code from description below. Title: Troubleshooting the Python path in your debug configuration is invalid. Error in VS Code. Introduction. Debugging is a crucial aspect of software development, and Visual Studio Code, VS Code, provides a powerful debugging environment for Python developers. However, you may encounter an issue where debugging doesn't start, and you receive the error message, "The Python path in your debug configuration is invalid." In this tutorial, we'll explore the common causes of this error and provide steps to troubleshoot and resolve the issue. Error message: the Python path in your debug configuration is invalid. Possible causes: incorrect Python path. The most common cause of this error is an incorrect Python path specified in your debug configuration. It's essential to ensure that the path is accurate and points to the correct Python interpreter. Virtual environment issues. If you are using a virtual environment, make sure it is activated before starting debugging. Failing to activate the virtual environment can lead to an invalid Python path. VS Code workspace configuration. Check if there are conflicting workspace settings or extensions affecting the Python path. Review the workspace settings and extensions related to Python in VS Code. Troubleshooting steps. Step 1. Verify Python installation. Confirm that Python is installed on your system, and the installation path is added to the system's path variable. Open a terminal and run Python version to ensure Python is accessible. Step 2. Check Python path in debug configuration. Open your VS Code project and navigate to the debugging section, usually in the sidebar. Look for the Run and Debug button and click on the gear icon to open the debug configurations. Check the Python path field and make sure it points to the correct Python interpreter. Update it if necessary. Example. Step 3. Activate virtual environment. If you are using a virtual environment, activate it before starting debugging. You can activate a virtual environment using the terminal. Step 4. Check workspace settings. Examine the VS Code workspace settings for any conflicting Python-related configurations or extensions. Look for files like .vscode/settings.json and review their contents. Conclusion. By following these troubleshooting steps, you should be able to resolve the Python path in your debug configuration is invalid error in VS Code. Ensure that your Python path is accurate, virtual environments are activated, and there are no conflicting workspace settings or extensions affecting the debugging process. Happy coding! ChatGPT. Title: Troubleshooting the Python path in your debug configuration is invalid in VS Code. Introduction. Visual Studio Code, VS Code, is a popular integrated development environment, IDE, for Python development. However, users may encounter issues with Python debugging not starting, accompanied by an error message stating, "The Python path in your debug configuration is invalid." This tutorial aims to guide you through the troubleshooting process and resolve this common issue. Ensure that Python is installed on your machine and that the installation directory is added to the system's path environment variable. Open a terminal and run. If Python is installed correctly, you should see the version number. If not, reinstall Python and make sure to select the option to add it to the path during installation. Open your project in VS Code. Navigate to the Run and Debug panel on the side. Click on the gear icon, Gear, to open the Debug Configuration drop-down. Select Add Configuration. And choose Python. In the generated launch.json file, locate the Python path property. It should point to the correct Python executable. Update the Python path to the correct Python executable path. If you are working in a virtual environment, make sure it is activated before starting the debugger. Activate the virtual environment using the following command. Then, try running the debugger again. Open the extensions view by clicking on the extensions icon in the activity bar on the side of the window or pressing Ctrl+Shift+X. Search for Python and locate the Python extension by Microsoft. Click on the gear icon next to the extension and choose Uninstall. After uninstalling, reinstall the Python extension. Ensure that both VS Code and the Python extension are up to date. Check for updates in the extensions view and update VS Code to the latest version. By following these steps, you should be able to resolve the Python path in your debug configuration is invalid issue in Visual Studio Code. If the problem persists, consider checking for updates from the VS Code team or consulting the official VS Code and Python extension documentation for additional support. ChatGPT